Load the Kitty Carrier Part 1 file and stitch the die line on a new piece of stabilizer. The ribbon die lines will also stitch. Take two 12-inch lengths of ribbon and work out how long your handle will be. Mark both ends of each ribbon so that they match. Tape one ribbon print side up over the ribbon die line. Stitch the tack down for the ribbon. Tape a piece of fabric or felt on the reverse side of the hoop over the die line. Stitch the alignment circles. If you want to use regular fabric for the outside of your cat carrier, sandwich a piece of Seam Lite between two thin layers of fabric, wrong sides together. Skip this step if you're using felt. If you would like to use felt for the inside and the outside, just use one piece of felt here for this step. No need to use the Seam Lite. Tape the panel over the die line. Back on the machine, we stitch the tack down stitch. Load the Kitty Carrier Part 2 file and sew the die line on a new piece of stabilizer. If using regular fabric, again, sandwich a piece of Seam Lite between one thin layer of fabric and one piece of felt, wrong sides touching. Skip this step if you are using felt for the outer fabric. Just use two pieces of felt together. Cover the die line with a fabric panel and stitch the tack down stitch. Now stitch the guidelines. Finally, you'll stitch the alignment circles. Load the file Kitty Carrier Part 3 and stitch the die line on a new piece of stabilizer. The zipper die line will stitch also. Take a 9-inch zipper or longer and tape it zipper side up inside this die line. Make sure the zipper pull and the stop is outside of the die line. Now stitch the zipper tack down. If using regular fabric, take 2 pieces on the fold with seam between them. Place the folded edges of each piece touching the zipper. Then tape it in place. If you're using felt, just use a layer of felt for each side. On the reverse, place 1 piece of felt. Tape in place. Back at the machine, now we'll stitch the tack down for the fabric panels. Unzip the zipper halfway and place a piece of tape to protect your fabric from the pressure foot. Next, stitch the 4 guidelines. On the reverse side of the previous hooping, trim close to the edges on the 2 longest sides and the sides with the notches. Do not trim the short straight edge side. We are essentially connecting these 2 panels in the hoop. Place the uncut straight short edge in alignment with the top, or in this case, because it's rotated, the left edge of the zippered piece. Use the corners to align and tape in place. Stitch the tack down. Notice it's stitching on the innermost line. Trim on the outer line where you just sewed these two panels together. Next, you'll trim the long edges of the zipper panel. Do not trim the other short edge. On the reverse side, trim away the stabilizer from the panel from part 2. Trim the fabric away from the zipper opening as well as the stabilizer. Load Kitty Carrier Part 4 file and stitch the die line on a new piece of stabilizer. If using regular fabric, sandwich steam a seam between the fabric and a piece of stabilizer. Otherwise, just use 2 pieces of felt with no steam a seam. Cover the die line with this fabric panel and tape in place. Stitch the tack down. Also stitch the guidelines and alignment circles. Place the uncut short edge of the zippered panel from part 3 on top of this panel with the outer lines matching on the short straight edge side. Line up the corners and tape in place. Stitch the tack down to connect the panels. Now trim the newly connected edge on the outer line. Trim the 2 long edges close to the stitching. Flip the corners. And remove the stabilizer from the reverse side of the new panel. Do not trim the notched edge. Let's load the Kitty carrier Part 5 file and stitch the die line on a new piece of stabilizer. Stitch the ribbon die lines as well. Take the other 12-inch ribbon you marked earlier. Line it up with the ribbon die line and tape it into place. Stitch the ribbon tack down. On the reverse side, tape a piece of fabric or felt for the inner fabric. Stitch the alignment circles. Again, if using regular fabric on the outside, sandwich a piece of Seam Lite between two regular pieces of fabric right sides out. Otherwise, just use one piece of felt. Tape this fabric panel in place over the die line. Stitch the paw print. Now we'll stitch the final tack downs.